Dick Gregory talking about looking at the evidence, the facts, but also going with your soul, your spirit, your heart, your gut. And I've always liked Dick Gregory. I can tell, you just look in his eyes, hear what he says. He's real. He's veritas. Doesn't mean any of us are perfect, but like King David, we have a heart that's real, that loves good. And he was basically getting into what Martin Luther King said about the universe bends towards justice. And it's what Victor Hugo said. No army can stop an idea whose time's come. And he's right. The system's trying to come in with tyranny because they know humanity's waking up. Recap what you were trying to say as we ran into that break, sir.
Yeah. First, the general that ran the North Vietnamese army was named General Kiop. And he wrote a book 35 years before we went into that country. And he said something simple. Give me an army that's willing to die, and I will destroy any army that's willing to kill. And so I say this to you, my brother. Give me the researchers that's willing to die, not kill. And we will destroy any army. I had a guy ask me, why don't you have bodyguards? And I said, okay, let's say you're my bodyguard. How many bullets you got in that gun? He said, 9. I said, if somebody want to kill me, all they got to do is show up with 10 people. I mean, the mathematics is not right. And so what I said earlier, I asked you, and I'll ask you again, have you ever been on the cover of Time magazine?
No.
Have you ever been on the front page of the New York Times?
No.
Okay, the universe says, when I pick you, I'm the universe. I'm the same one that put the whole universe. When I picked you to do my work, I leave no footprints. You don't have to be validated by the New York Times or the Washington Post or NBC. When the universe picked you, that's the ultimate. And when you look at it, let me just see, we too close to this. You know, have you ever bit your tongue, Alex?
Have I ever what?
You ever bit your tongue?
Yes.
You know how bad that hurt, right?
Yes.
Do you realize these young white children is sticking their tongue out, running 5 and 6 screws through their tongue, and they're not using painkiller? And we so busy laughing at them and thinking they're crazy. There's a universal law. When you start inflicting pain on yourself, then you better watch out because something's fixing to happen. And if you do the quick research, those of you that's listening, and find out why the Chinese hate the Japanese so bad, because when the Japanese invaded China in 1933, they gave the army instructions. Don't mess with the leaders. Find every young Chinese male with a tattoo on their body and blow their brains out, because tattoos represent revolution. Okay? And so what I'm saying to you, when I was a little boy, if I saw somebody with a tattoo, you knew you was in the presence of a felon. Okay? Now, and finally, then we get back to your question you asked. A butterfly, that little precious, beautiful butterfly, can fly all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, can fly all the way across the Pacific Ocean, but the bald eagle can't make that trip. So don't let nobody lead you to believe, because I got a mighty army in the CIA, and I control everything, that they bigger than you. That is a game they play. You take a welfare mother that's pregnant. She can't read or write. When her 9 months pregnant is over, they don't have all the armies in the world that can come together and keep that baby in her. You see, revolution is nothing but an extension of evolution. Evolution is a gradual naturistic change that when it leads into revolution, that's quick change. And that happens when a mother gives birth, when an animal gives birth. And what you're doing, and people like you that have radio shows like this here, you giving the folks that's sitting there waiting on that gestation, that 9 months period, you giving them courage. You giving them something that they can look at. People can turn in and listen to this show and then go back and explain it to people. The hardest thing in the world is when the CIA and these thugs have control and there's no other voice they can hear. You're damn right they start making sense. They make sense.
Well, that's why they want to start shutting the web down. Dick Gregory's our guest. More key info straight ahead. We'll also talk about eugenics with him on the other side. Stay with us. I know I keep ranting about this, but the government did a secret deal with major insurance companies to steal the death benefits from the widows of dead veterans. That's Bloomberg. Totally confirmed. They've admitted it, and they say they're allowed to. They tell you core exit's not bad for you, DU's not bad for you, asbestos isn't bad for you. It shows you who these people are. They get off on being pure evil. And Going back to Dick Gregory in our final segment, dick-gregory.com's his website. I look forward to having him back in the near future. Dick, expanding on this overall issue, and I talk about this almost every day.
Sure.
I'm not bringing this up because you're a black man,
yes,
but I've studied the globalists, and they admit they beta test things on disenfranchised people that can't fight back.
Sure.
And I go back to the eugenics development in the U.S. about 90 years ago, and they said, we're going to test it out on these people.
Wait, hold it. About how many years ago?
About 90 years ago.
Okay, you know why I'm glad you said that?
Why?
What Hitler was doing with eugenics was created at the University of Virginia. Hitler was using our book.
Yes.
That was his blueprint for what he was doing, come out the University of Virginia, eugenics. And they had it all put together and said, here's how we're going to do it. Now, if you Google Ebony magazine, where Dick Gregory said, birth control is genocide. Okay, now, I didn't just get on this bandwagon. You understand? See, I'm not like the King girl who a bunch of conservatives went over and they needed a blackboard to sit here and he say, here's how we're going to finance this. Let me tell you, I'm a black man with 10 children. I've been knowing for years, for every 10 white babies that's born, 3 of them die at birth. For every 10 black babies that's born, I'm going back now 50 years ago. For every 10 white babies that was born 50 years ago, 3 of them died at birth. For every 10 black babies that's born in America, 7 die at birth. So it didn't take too much mathematics to figure out if this system can get me on the same birth schedule as a white woman, they're wiping me out. Okay? And that's when I said, this is genocide. They know it. My grandmother didn't know it. A whole lot of people want to have sex and don't want to get people pregnant. Now, let me just tell you how corrupt I am. I had somebody call me one day from Canada, and and they said, we'd like to bring you here $20,000 for the Father of the Year award. I said, well, I don't qualify. The guy explained to me it wasn't a joke. I said, no, I don't qualify. I said, listen to me and listen to me good. I have 10 black children, which means the universal God had gave me the right to create 10 other gods. It didn't ask me what color was I. It didn't ask me did I have any money. It didn't ask me could I read or write. It says you have the ability to create another you. Now, 10 times. The problem is I never had an affair with my wife to create new life, man. I was just enjoying myself. Now, what's wrong with that? I never bought a car that I didn't know the year, the make, the down payment, the monthly notes, the insurance, and the trade-in value. Now, when I, Dick Gregory, got to look myself in the face and realize I put more planning into owning a damn car than creating God's new life, hey, man, I'm the problem. Don't look past me. Every time I get on a plane and travel anywhere in the world for a peace rally, I pay tax money on my ticket, which they use to buy bombs and munitions to kill children and old folks all over the world. So when the bombs drop on my grandchildren, I say, God, just give me the wisdom and the strength to understand it's payback time. This is what this is about. But I'm just glad that on this side, see, I grew up, man, and I was born in 1952. I'll be 32. When I go to the movie and see John Wayne, man, that's who I wanted to be like. When John Wayne said, if you right and they wrong, get your gun and kill them. It's until I bumped into this movement that told me it's not about killing. It's not about this. Man, I couldn't wait to get in the army so I could kill me somebody. And let me just tell you something right now. If what you're talking about the veterans, how they treat them, let me tell you Americans something. Anytime you can wave your flag to get your young men and women to the front line of battle, but can't wave that flag when they come back to see that they get the care, that's not a flag you waving, that's a rag. And the sooner you find out about it, the better off everybody's going to be. I'm so damn sick and tired of the people that manufacture the munitions and all the ones that make the money on war who don't send none of their loved ones. They the ones that profit. One day, when the decent people move into a position will say this. Anybody that make more war materials, you can't make no more money than 10% more during wartime than you make during peacetime, and the profits will go to the people who fight the war. The profits, when you got a Super Bowl, the winner shares in the benefits, and that's what we need to do with wartime. So somewhere, when you stop and think about, America will be a great nation one day, but it haven't been. And the reason Negroes were not able to play professional baseball for years because of this. When the people started coming from Europe to here, the Irish Catholic had to live in an Irish Catholic neighborhood. We talk about the religion, how crazy it is now. I remember the time in Boston, you wouldn't dare say you was Irish Catholic in a certain area. You would be stomped when the Jews came over. And you see, we forget the Mormons because they rich. We forget what happened to Smith and them. The Mormons wasn't created in Utah. It was in Illinois. And the Christians ran them out, killing them. And the reason they're alive today, they ran into Utah, and the Christians say, I'm a Christian. They all leave them alone. Ain't nothing there. They didn't know nothing about minerals and research. And so when you stop and think about how vicious we have been down through the years, and those of you, when I listen to people talk about September 11th, they go up on the Indian reservation and tell them they didn't wipe out towers, they wiped out whole villages.
Well, Mr. Gregory, we're almost out of time, but specifically, though, on the issue of eugenics, you're absolutely right that more than half the black people since Roe v. Wade that are conceived are never born, but we don't see anybody, Jesse Jackson, or any of these people ever talking about it. I don't hear the NAACP talking about it. If the cops kill a black youth, sometimes because they had to, sometimes because they're, the police are out of control, there's a huge, big event about it. But then if I was a black leader, I'm just a human, so I'm warning black folks about this, but I'm warning everybody because it's happening to everyone, but it's specifically targeting blacks. Why don't I see more black leaders talking about that?
Well, wait a minute. Let me back up a minute. When you see Alveda King, right?
Yes.
All right. Have you ever read about her in the New York Times?
I don't read the New York Times a lot, but...
have you ever seen her on NBC? What I'm saying is there's a whole lot of black folks that are out there doing stuff. If it don't run in the paper that white folks read, it's like it don't happen.
I got you. So you're saying the leaders we're shown are the ones that are bought off. We're not seeing all the real folks.
Wait a minute. All black leaders is not bought off. A lot of people out here is doing the right thing for the wrong reason. And so as long as you're doing that, and finally, before we go off, let me just say this. If you look at a little flea can jump 24 inches. That's in their DNA. But they've done experiments where they take a flea and put it in an 18-inch jar with a top on it. And when that flea jumps up and the head hits the top, that flea is not aware it's in a jar. And after that head hits for so many times, you can take the lid off the jar and the flea won't jump beyond 18 inches, okay? And that flea trains its offspring the same thing. So how long can we be put in a trick like we've been put in since slavery? And then
I got it. I'm not saying all black leaders. I'm talking about the really predominant ones they put out there.
No,
you're saying they've been put in a jar, so that's the only universe they know. They're inside a box.
That's all of it. Some of them know the trick that's going down. Some of them don't know the trick that's going down. But I'm saying what's happening today, you see, I survive on this country because I bypass all of that. I bypassed that. I said, well, Jesse Jackson had something to do with killing King. Don't that bother you? I said, it don't seem to bother the King family. They get along with it. They can get along with it. But eventually all of it is going to come out. All of it is going to be this, when you look